How's it going, guys? Welcome here. Football is back. Pre-season 1 is here for the 2018 season. So as we're getting closer to the NFL, we're also getting closer to draft our team in fantasy football. I've been playing fantasy football for the past 7-8 years. I always have good results. I always at least went to the top 4. So I'm here to help you guys draft your players at the right position at the right moment. So bear with me. This video is gonna be a mock draft. It's gonna be a PPR draft. So a 12 man, and I'm gonna randomize my position, and I'm gonna explain you guys what technique I use when I draft in fantasy football and what kind of players I'm targeting in each round. Hopefully this video is gonna help you out, most of you guys, to clear out some doubts that you have about some players, and I'm gonna go more in depth for some specific position and some specific players. So with this in mind, let's jump in to the mock draft. I'm gonna use Fantasy Pros, which is a website that I always use every year when I try to see the rankings for the week, when I do the mock draft before I draft my teams and so on. So I recommend to use this website if you didn't know it before. So I'm gonna use PPR, as you guys can see. I'm gonna use I'm gonna have 12 teams in this draft. That's because I'm used to playing a 12-man league every year. I play in a 12-man league, and I play in at least 5 different leagues. So that's what I'm used to. I always play PPR, but that doesn't mean that I can do a standard mock draft. But for my convenience, I'm gonna do PPR. I'm gonna do 12 man because that's what I'm most comfortable with. I'm gonna have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and 1 flex position, 1 kicker, 1 defense, and then 6 bench spots. So it's gonna be about 17 rounds. I'm gonna randomize my draft order. Let's see, and I'm number 9. That's actually good for me because I usually draft around the late rounds. Like as I said before, I've been doing fantasy football for the past 7 years, since I was 18, and I don't know why I'm never in the top 5. Every time I draft, I'm always towards the end, and I don't know why. So I've seen that many people are recommending to go running back heavy in the first 2 rounds, especially because the wide receiver position is so is really so deep this year. But it also depends at the position where you draft. In my case, I'm gonna be the 9th overall, and so it's my turn. So over here, as you guys can see, I'll jump very quickly. The 8 players, only 2 wide receivers went ahead of me. All the running backs, all the most hyped running backs, they all went before me. So as you guys can see, I have Gurley, Bell, Johnson, Brown, Ezekiel Elliott, Kamara, Hopkins, and Barkley. They all went before me. So at this position, at the 9th overall, I can do either running back heavy and draft 2 late running backs, or just do 2 good wide receivers. And this is an important decision to make because you have to look at what you can get at the later rounds. In my opinion, if you can pair Odell Beckham with Michael Thomas or Keenan Allen or Davante Adams or AJ Green, I think you're going to have the best duo in your fantasy league. But at the same time, though, if you can have Melvin Gordon and Fournette on your team, that's also a great running back duo. So there are 2 strategies that you can adapt at this point. Since I think that I can find some decent running backs in the later rounds, I really cannot pass on a superstar wide receivers because Odell Beckham is the number 3 wide receivers, and I'm gonna draft him at this position because I think that's the best player you can draft the number 9. Sorry, we'll open up a new tab. So I'm gonna draft Odell Beckham, and let's see what is gonna be left over in the second round. I think Julio Jones. Yeah. So as I predicted, Melvin Gordon went out. Michael Thomas, Kane Allen, Kareem Hunt, Julio Jones. At this point, I'm going to go with wide receiver heavy because I feel like I'd rather have AJ Green or Davante Adams than McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook. I think they're safer players. So for me, this is a toss between Davante Adams and AJ Green. But I see that Odell Beckham has a bye week at week 9, so I'm gonna go with Davante Adams. So I'm not gonna have 2 good wide receivers on bye week on the same week. So now let's go on round 3. I'm gonna go ahead and draft a running back. The computer is suggesting McCoy. Let's see what else is left. I'm not going to draft Aaron Rodgers or Zach Ertz, and explain you why in a second. So overall, running back left, I have McCoy, Collins, Hughes, and Ajayi left. I think that I will go with McCoy here. I think McCoy at the end of the 3rd round, it's a good bet. And in the 4th round, I probably will get Ajayi or Alex Collins. I think Alex Collins, though, it's a 5th round player. Let's see what's left in the 4th round. In fact, Collins, Tate, Wilson, Landry. I want to see what running backs are left, because I can pair McCoy with Rex Burkhead. I can pair McCoy with Derrick Henry, Lamar Miller, Dion Lewis, Ajayi. And I honestly think that Jarvis Landry at this spot, it's a really good option to take. And in his bye week is by week 11. But I'm gonna have McCoy on bye week 11 too. Then Tate, Russell. I'm not going to draft a quarterback this early. I'm not a big Golden Tate fan. I really don't like to draft Detroit Lions players because they're really not consistent. Besides, of course, Calvin Johnson. But I think I love Alex Collins. But I think 4th round it's a bit early for him. I think it's good in the 5th round. I'll go with Jarvis Landry, and I think I will have the best wide receiver core in this league. Next will be, of course, running back. So basically, I'm showing you guys. They're suggesting Tom Brady, but as I said before, for me it's too early. The one quarterback that I want to target is Philip Rivers, and I can get Philip Rivers in the next 5 rounds. I think I'll go with Ajayi. But Darius Guice, I want to see Darius Guice in preseason. I think Ajayi is pretty safe. Now I can go best player available. Cam Newton. I'll go with Lamar Miller. I think Lamar Miller with Deshaun Watson back is gonna play. Is gonna have a good season. I think that offense with Deshaun Watson in center. I think my man went though. Let me see. Did Rivers go? No. Rivers didn't go. Kyle Rudolph is a good end. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 players drafted already. Kyle Rudolph by week is by week 10. Besides Miller, I have no one else. Let me see which 10s are left. Because I usually stream my 10 week to week, but with Kirk Cousins under center, Kyle Rudolph is a safe 10 to use this year. Uh, Kicker, Kyle Rudolph. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and get Kyle Rudolph. I think he's the best end available in a safe, and he's a safe player this season. Jimmy Garoppolo and Sterling Shepard. Now I'm going to get my guy, and my guy is Philip Rivers. Even though I want to see though, because I have 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs at hand. If I don't get Philip Rivers, I probably will get Jared Goff. Uh, and as far as running backs, um, I have 3 pretty good running backs in my opinion. Uh, I mean, they're suggesting to get Rex. I think Rex Burkhead is gonna be good, but I'm gonna get my man Philip Rivers, and I think with Philip Rivers under center, my offense is pretty good. They have also a nice schedule, so from now on it's gonna be just best player available. So as you guys can see, I went wide receiver heavy in the first 2 rounds. Then I went running back, wide receivers, running back, tight end, and quarterback. I usually do 2 running backs or 2 wide receivers, and then I go 2 and 2. So the first 2 rounds, 2 wide receivers, second 2 rounds, 2 running backs, or vice versa. But uh, the running backs that I found at the 4th round, like for example Duke Johnson here, and this is, which one is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Duke Johnson at the 9th round. I think it's pretty good for your depth. But I mean, they were suggesting Alex Collins. He was the best running back left in the 4th round. But I rather have Jarvis Landry because I know what he can do in PPR than Alex Collins. Um, so I have 4 quarterbacks. I'm wide receiver. I mean, at this point for depth, I just try to go for the guys that may pay off. Um, I always like to draft guys this late. Like I always found some really good gems. Like for example, I think Cameron Meredith is gonna have a good season for the Saints. I think Alex Smith is gonna be fine as a quarterback. He may even be undrafted in many leagues. So Jared Goff is another quarterback that I try to target in the later rounds. Calvin Ridley for the Falcons. Crowell, I might get Crowell, but I'll go with Richard Matthews. Let me see. No, I'll go with Crowell. So I'm done. I'm done with running backs. I think I have a pretty solid group of running backs here. Uh-huh. I don't care about Roethlisberger. I think he's on his way towards the end. Sanu at this point is a good bench spot. I need a 4th wide receiver. I think Sanu is fine. Let me see if I can find anyone else better than him. Mami Sanu, Deshaun Jackson is another one that can be. Anthony Miller for the Bears, but I think I'll go with Deshaun Jackson over here in the 11th round. Deshaun Jackson's pretty good. Yes, I go with Deshaun Jackson. I think at this point my team is pretty much set. I will. I think I'm gonna go ahead and draft whatever best players left. I think this is a fifth round. I think the 15th round. I think here it's a good time to pick up a defense. In fact, the Jaguars, Vikings, Rams, Eagles, they already went off the board, and I think it's a good spot to take the Chargers defense because I think they're gonna be solid this year. They're gonna have so many turnovers with that secondary. In fact, even though 0%, I don't care anymore. My team is pretty much set. Only missing a kicker, and I'm only missing a kicker and then 2 bench spots. I'm gonna draft the Chargers defense, and I think this is a solid team. It's a solid team to start. For the way where I drafted my players, I think it's a really good team, especially in PPR. Now I can draft. I probably need to draft a backup quarterback, and I can either draft one more wide receivers or a backup hand. Patrick Mahomes. No, I'll draft Jared Goff here. I think Jared Goff. It's a really good pickup here at the 15th round. I like him better than Mahomes. I may actually start Jared Goff in some couple of games, depending who he plays. Then one bench, one kicker. I'll go ahead and draft a kicker over here. I always like to draft a kicker one round before the end, especially when I'm at the end of the draft, because one thing that really figured out last year, that killed me last year especially, is that you need a good kicker. I was streaming kickers last season, and it didn't work out. Like, my kickers were getting like 5 to 10 points a game, and there were people with Greg Zerlane, Jack Elliott. They were getting 15 to 20 points a game, and they were winning games just because of the kickers. So I want to try to get a top 5 kicker this time. Let's see who's left. Kicker. Everybody's available. I go with the Justin Tucker. Those guys are pretty safe. I'll go with Justin Tucker because Justin Tucker is the main guy here. We are almost at the end. My very last pick. Usually the last pick, I like to draft someone that can be a surprise. So I'm still gonna draft a player that starts for the team. I'm not going to draft a backup player. Like, for example, they're suggesting Chris Avery. I'm not going to draft Chris Avery. Bilal Powell is possible. Mohamed Sanu, it's a nice pick here because he's still the number 2 wide receiver for the team, and the Atlanta Falcons, they are a solid offense. Let's see who's left. Charles Clay, Eifert, Sanu, Braid, Jerry Cook, Bilal Powell, Blake Bortles, Trubisky, Paul Richardson, Derek Carr. Derek Carr drafted, for me, it's great. Tyrell Williams, Manning, Chris Godwin for Tampa Bay, Andy Dalton, McDonald, TJ. Dede Westbrook at the very end. Amendola, Tyrod Taylor, Christian Kirk, John Ross, Panthers defense, Keelan Cole, Jermaine Kearse, John Brown, Spencer Ware, then Billy, Corey Coleman. He plays for the Buffalo now, the Bears. There are so many good players that can take it with this last pick. Vernon Davis, CJ Pryor, Terry Pryor. I don't care about Pryor. But the one that I'm going to get is Dede Westbrook. I'm going to get Dede Westbrook. I'm going to get Dede Westbrook with my very last pick. And the reason for this is that Dede Westbrook last year he only played from week 10 and going forward. I mean, the Jaguars offense is all about Fournette. Blake Bortles is average, if not below average quarterback. Marcus Lee is not Allen Robinson. They lost Allen Ernst. So they brought in Dante Moncrief, but Moncrief is nothing exceptional. Moncrief, I think Westbrook is going to have a solid role. I think Westbrook can have more yards than Marcus Lee. No. So we can have a recap of our team in a little bit. So I got an A for my team, and I think it's pretty good result considering where we draft and how we drafted. The first running back that we took was LeSean McCoy in the 3rd round. And many people out there that do mock draft, they're suggesting to go running back heavy in the first 2 rounds, since the wide receiver core is so depth in the later rounds. But I just show you guys that even if you draft at the very end and you go with a wide receiver strategy, you can still draft a solid team. Because Philip Rivers, McCoy, Ajayi, Beckham, Adams, Kyle Rudolph, Landry, Chargers, and Tucker. That's a really solid team to start with. But also, look at the bench. Lamar Miller, starting running back for the Houston Texans. Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson last year, they were the number 1 offense before he got hurt. Duke Johnson, even though the running back situation in Cleveland is not sure because they have Carlos Hyde, Nick Chubb, and Duke Johnson. I think Duke Johnson is going to be the main guy that is going to catch the balls. So in PPR, I think it's going to be like some people, they're going to have Duke Johnson their starting lineup every week as RB2 or in the flex. So having Duke Johnson on your bench, it's a really good pick. Crowell is probably going to be the starting running back for the Jets. I think Bill Powell is going to take away some carries from Crowell, but I think Crowell is going to start. And for my 5th running back, that's a solid player. Deshaun Jackson, number 2 wide receiver in Tampa Bay. Last year, Deshaun Jackson was pretty good. He's not a consistent player, but it's like when you have Landry in a bye week or Beckham or Adams 1 week in a bye week, you can plug in and play Deshaun Jackson for that week. He's gonna give you 10, 12, even 20 points if he scores a touchdown in PPR format. Jared Goff, pretty solid quarterback. Rivers and Goff, it's a great duo to have. They really are a great duo. I think Philip Rivers is gonna be a top 5 quarterback in fantasy this year. Goff is gonna be a top 10. He's gonna probably produce a low first end quarterback type of numbers, but he's not QB2. He's a low end QB1. And Dede Westbrook, as I was saying, at the really end of the fantasy draft, I really don't go for the people for the best people that are available. I really try to go for my best player available, the player that is going to probably impress, outshine other player, because I'd rather have Westbrook than Sanu, because Westbrook upside is much higher than Sanu. So with my very last pick, I rather have Dede Westbrook than Sanu or Charles Clay, Austin Hooper, because Dede Westbrook has a big upside. So at the very last pick, don't go for the best player available, but go for the player with the best upside. So go for boom or bust. Just play, it's like playing roulette, because sometimes if you go boom or bust, it's at the very last, you're not losing anything. You know what I mean? So overall, I think my draft is pretty good. Let's see if they show us the projected standings. They don't. I don't want to create. I have an account. I don't want to log in right now. But as you guys saw, my team got a name. I drafted number 9 overall. I used a wide receiver strategy with 0 running back in the first year round, which is unusual because everybody's going running back heavy in the first round. So thank you guys for watching this video. I'm gonna do another mock draft probably very soon, but this time I'm gonna draft in the top 5 draft picks, and I'm gonna use a different approach. So thank you guys for watching it, and see you soon.